Dear students, welcome back to Educator YouTube channel, and I am continuing with royalty accounts part 2. Say in the part 1 I explained you about how to prepare analysis table and about theory and everything. Now in part 2 I would like to explain you how to prepare journal entries with MR and without MR. You may be surprised what is MR. MR is minimum rent or dead rent. With minimum rent how to write journal entries, and without minimum rent how to write journal entries. Just I will show you the gist, then we will work out the problem. So before I start, I request you, those who have not subscribed to our Educator Guru channel, please subscribe and encourage. Now I told you in my previous video that I am going to show you the ledger accounts as well as journal entries. Now here journal entries in the books of lessee, right, with minimum rent and without minimum rent. What is the difference? What is the difference? It is very simple. Say with minimum rent or without minimum rent, how you should do. Say here first I will show you without minimum rent. Without minimum rent means it is very simple. You will get what actually royalty account debtor, right, short working account debtor, to landlord account, one journal entry, that is without minimum rent. But when you come to minimum rent, it is instead of writing one journal entry, we will write two journal entries. What is that? That is minimum rent account debtor or dead rent account debtor to landlord account. This is not enough. Now what you have to do is very simple. You have opened a minimum rent account. This minimum rent account should be closed. Then how it will be closed? It is very simple. Royalty account debtor, short working account debtor, to minimum rent account. I hope you can see both the journal entries. Here you see royalty account debtor, short working account debtor to landlord account. This is without minimum rent. With minimum rent, what actually? Minimum rent account debtor to landlord account, royalty account debtor, short working account debtor to minimum rent account. Here you see minimum rent is what actually first debited, then ultimately it has been credited. What is the journal entry is remaining? Royalty account debtor, short working account debtor to landlord account. What is the journal entry without minimum rent? Royalty account debtor, short working account debtor to landlord account. So this is the only difference between the minimum rent and without minimum rent, or which is also called as what do you mean by dead rent, right? So in this way, where I am going to get you the journal entries in the books of lessee, that is what analytical table that we have done. We have done earlier, that is problem number 1, that is what actually fixed. The requirement of what actually short working is what fixed, and problem number 5, that is floating. For these problems, that is question paper problems, I have written what you call journal entries, that is in the books of lessee, as well as for problem number 1 I have prepared the ledger account also. So then it becomes easy for you, for your reference, then how to prepare journal entries with minimum rent and without minimum rent, right? We will now start with what actually for problem number 1, that is earlier analytical table what we have prepared. For the problem number fixed, we will pass journal entries. Now problem number 1 of the analysis table which you have done earlier. Prepare an analysis table from the following details. Royalty payable 50 paise per ton of output, minimum rent 7,500 per annum, then royalty recoupment of short working up to 3 years. Output during the first 3 years were 10,000, 14,000, 18,000 tons respectively. We have done the analysis table. Let us see first analysis table. Our earlier table of analysis, that is fixed, problem number 1 that I have already read. Year, output, royalty, minimum rent, short working recovered, short working not recovered, amount paid to landlord. 1, 2, 3, 10,000, 14,000, 18,000 output, royalty 5,000, 7,000, 9,000, minimum rent 7,500, 7,500, 7,500. Short working in the first year is 2,500, second year is 500, whereas third year have a excess of royalty, that means you have recovered 1,500. The 1,500 you could not recover because only the first 3 years. So up to 3 years means in the first 3 years you could not recover, then that will be transferred to profit and loss account. This is the table. For this table, now we have to what actually prepare journal entries in the books of lessee or what you call tenant, right? How we will prepare, I will show you. Now journal entries in the books of lessee without minimum rent, right? As usual, you know that you should never forget date, particulars, ledger folio, debit, credit, right? First year, royalty account debtor, short working account debtor, that is 5,000 and 2,500, to landlord account 7,500. That is royalty amount due to landlord. Then landlord account debtor to bank account, the amount of 7,500 paid, royalty paid to what actually landlord. Next, when royalty is opened, that should be closed every year. Either it should be transferred to profit and loss account or it should be transferred to production account. Now here I have transferred it to what actually production account. Even you can write what actually profit and loss account, production account debtor to royalty account, or you can say that profit and loss account debtor to royalty account. Here you see royalty account is what actually debited here and royalty account is what actually credited. Any nominal account is born, it should die. It is just like human being. We are born, we will die. In the similar fashion, when nominal account is opened, that should be closed. It will be closed to transferring it to what actually production account. So these are the 3 journal entries we pass all the years, but except when you have short working recovered or short working not recovered, you have one additional entry. Now the second year, royalty account debtor 7,000, short working account debtor 500, to landlord account 7,500. If you get any doubt, you just refer to what actually your table. Here you see second year it is how much actually 7,000 is royalty, then minimum rent is 7,500, short working is how much actually 500. So what I have written, royalty account debtor 7,000, short working account is 500, that is amount due to landlord is how much actually 7,500. So now royalty account debtor 7,000, short working account debtor 500, to landlord account 7,500, royalty amount due to landlord. Landlord account debtor to bank account 7,500, 7,500, royalty amount paid to landlord. Then as usual, when royalty account is opened, it should be closed. How it will be closed? It will be transferred to either production account or what actually to profit and loss account. Production account debtor to royalty account 7,007. When royalty account is opened, it should be closed. I told you earlier, production account debtor to royalty account or what actually profit and loss account debtor to royalty account. Now third year, as usual, royalty account debtor 9,000, to landlord account 7,500, to short working 1,500. Let us see the table again. See the table. Here the third year you have excess royalty, that means your minimum rent is 7,500 whereas royalty is 9,000. You have excess of 1,500 which can be recouped, that is 1,500. Total short working is 3,000 but recovered is only 1,500. You have only 3 years. So 1,500 you could not recover, that will be automatically transferred to what actually profit and loss account. So now I have written here royalty account debtor 9,000, to landlord account 7,500, to short working 1,500. Usually short working will be debited, here short working will be credited. When it is credited, it is very simple, it has been recouped. Royalty amount due and short working what actually recovered. Now the second journal entry is as usual journal entry, landlord account debtor to bank account 7,500, 7,500. Even though he has earned 9,000 but he is eligible only for 7,500 because 1,500 has been given to what actually recoupment. Then once the royalty account is opened, it will be transferred to production account or profit and loss account. Production account debtor to royalty account 9,000, 9,000. Next, short working has been recovered, profit and loss account debtor to what actually short working account is how much actually 1,500. So short working not recovered, transferred to what actually profit and loss account. The short working which would not recover, it will be transferred to what actually profit and loss account. This is how you have to prepare journal entries in the books of lessee. Now we will work out the same problems, that is journal entries in the books of lessee with minimum rent. The same problem number 1, that is I have written alternative method. First year minimum rent account debtor to landlord account 7,500, 7,500. Royalty account debtor, short working account debtor to minimum rent account 7,500. Here you see minimum rent has been debited, minimum rent account has been credited. If you cancel one debit and credit, again it becomes royalty account debtor, short working account debtor to landlord account. That means it becomes as usual like without minimum rent. But in the examination, if they specifically ask to write with minimum rent, you have to write like this only, or without minimum rent you have to write like that only. So for that I am showing you both the types. Next one is landlord account debtor to bank account, that is amount has been what actually paid 7,500, 7,500. Then once again when it is been closed, that is royalty is open, it should be closed. Production account debtor to royalty account 5,000, 5,000. It is enough of the first year. Then second year minimum rent account debtor 7,500 to landlord account 7,500. Then royalty account debtor 7,000, short working account debtor 500 to minimum rent account 7,500. That means here once again if you cancel debit and credit, once again it becomes royalty account debtor, short working account debtor to landlord account, but you are writing journal entry with what actually minimum rent. I have given you the narration also, minimum rent due to landlord, minimum rent transferred to royalty and short working account. Now third journal entry, you have to pay the amount, landlord account debtor to bank account 7,500, 7,500. That is amount paid to landlord. Then once the royalty is open, it should be closed, it will be transferred to production account debtor to royalty account 7,000, 7,000. Now the third year. So third year, let us say once again what actually the table. Say third year it is excess 9,000, 7,500 is what actually minimum rent, where you have earned loyalty is 9,000, excess recovered is how much 1,500, not recovered is how much 1,500. How to write in the similar fashion? Here there is no question of minimum rent. Royalty account debtor 9,000, to landlord account you have to pay only 7,500, short working recovered is how much 1,500. That means or 3,000 rupees short working which has all been recovered, how much 1,500. Royalty amount due and short working recovered. Then as usual landlord account debtor to bank account, you have to pay the amount to the landlord. Then once royalty is open, it should be closed. Production account debtor 9,000 to royalty account 9,000. But you have to transfer that remaining short working of 1500 to profit and loss account. Profit or loss account debtor to short working account 1500, 1500, it is closed. This is how you have to pass journal entries. Here you can write the total of the journal, no problem, right? As what you are doing in first year PUC, in the similar fashion you can put the total. This is how you have to work out in both the methods, that is the with minimum rent and without minimum rent. Now we will see how to prepare ledger account for the same. Now we will prepare ledger accounts for the same problem number 1, that is fixed, right, without minimum rent. Once you know the journal entry, you can prepare ledger account very easily. Say you have to prepare 3 accounts: royalty account, landlord account and short working account. There are 3 accounts you have to prepare, very simple accounts, right. If they ask ledger account, it is very easy in the examination. Students, you remember this problem, you will get it for either for 15 marks or 12 marks, and one problem is definite. So total you will get either 17 or 18 marks only from royalty accounts. You can easily score 18 marks from this chapter. So when you prepare royalty account, first year to landlord account 5000, then once the royalty is open, it will be transferred to production account or what actually profit and loss account. Account is open, account is closed. Then in the similar fashion, second year to landlord account 7000, by production account 7000 or profit loss account 7000, close. Then third year to landlord account 9000, third year by production account 9000 or profit loss account 9000, close. So this is very simple of preparing what actually royalty account. Then next one is landlord account. Say by royalty account 5000, by short working how much actually 2500, to bank account 7500. That means 5000 royalty earned, 2500 short working he is paying from his pocket. The total amount payable is 7500, account is closed. Next, by royalty account 7000, by short working account 500, to bank account how much actually 7500, it is closed. The landlord account has been closed. Then third year by royalty, even though he has earned 9000, he will get only 7500 because 1500 has been recovered towards what actually short working. To bank account 7500, account is closed. Short working to landlord account 2500, by balance carried down 2500 because he has got what actually 3 years, that means it will be carried forward to the next year. Here I have written by balance carried down, here I have written opening balance, or you can say to balance brought down. It is one and the same. I have written in 2 years like that only, so that you can write anything, it is correct. To opening balance 2500, again you have a loss of next year is 500, so total is how much actually 3000. 3000 rupees showing short working what actually total loss. To balance brought down or opening balance of third year is 3000, but out of this you have taken 1500 from royalty, 1500, you have earned 9000, you just refer your table, you will come to that. 9000 is earned, 7000 you are going to pay landlord, 1500 is royalty which has been recovered. Then the remaining amount which you could not recover because it is only 3 years, so the amount, ultimate short working amount will be transferred to profit and loss account 1500, then account is closed. These 3 accounts you have to prepare in the books of, let's see, it is very easy. Now students, for the analytical table, we have prepared, that is problem number 5, right. Prepare royalty analysis table from the following details. Again same problem, that for that I am going to get you journal entries without minimum rent and with the minimum rent. Prepare royalty table, minimum rent 60,000, royalty payable 75 paise per ton of output, short working can be recovered in the next 2 years. I told you, you can use 3 words, next 2 years, subsequent 2 years or following years, 2 years, whatever it is one and same, it is floating. That means if happens in first year, you can recover either second year or third year. If happens in second year, third year or fourth year, right, here 2 years out of excess royalty. Output for the first 4 years is 20,000 tons, 24,000 tons, 56,000 tons, 50,000 tons respectively. Now we will see that table first. Now the table is, we have already discussed earlier in my first part. Now I am just showing you the again, that is table of analysis. Our year output, royalty, minimum rent, short working recovered, short working not recovered, amount paid to landlord 20,000, 24,000, 56,000, 50,000, royalty 50,000, 18,000, 42,000, 37,500. Minimum rent all these years is 60,000. Then here you have once again 45,000 short, 42,000 short, 18,000 short, 22,500 short. It is very simple. Floating. Floating means what? You have first year short working 45,000 which should be recovered in the second year or third year. You could not recover anything. That means this short working, because all these years is showing what actually short working only. So this 45,000 in the third year it will be transferred to short working not recovered, which is nothing but what actually transferred to profit and loss account. In the similar fashion, you have a loss in the second year 42,000. Again in the fourth year also you have a loss. That means that 42,000 will be transferred to profit and loss account in the fourth year. Then you may ask about what about the third year? Third year you have 2 years time, that is fourth year and fifth year. For fourth year it is fifth year and sixth year. But we have data only for how many years? 4 years. So with this table, now we will write journal entries for the same with minimum rent and without minimum rent. Now journal entries in the books of, let's see, without minimum rent, I have written problem number 5, floating. That means you have to see that analytical table earlier. Debit, date, particulars, ledger folio, debit, credit. First year, royalty account debtor, short working account debtor to landlord account 60,000, 45 plus 15, 60,000. Then landlord account debtor to bank account 60,000. Then royalty is open, it should be closed. Production account debtor to royalty account 15,000. Once nominal account is open, it should be closed. Then second year, royalty account debtor 18,000, short working account debtor 42,000 to landlord account 60,000. Any doubt you can just refer it to what actually our analytical table. See, same figures are there in the analytical table. Then landlord account debtor to bank account, that means amount paid 60,000, 60,000. Then once a royalty account is open, it should be transferred, that is production account debtor to royalty account 18,000, 18,000. Then third year, royalty account debtor, short working account debtor to landlord account 42,000, 18,000. Then to landlord account payable is how much actually? 60,000. Second journal entry, landlord account debtor to bank account, that is amount paid to landlord. Production account debtor to royalty account 42,000, 42,000. Here you must be careful, you will get one extra entry, that is short working which could not recoup, it will be transferred to profit and loss account. I told you very simple, you have a loss in the first year of 40,000, that 40,000 you could not recover, that will be transferred to profit and loss account. Profit and loss account debtor to short working account 45,000, 45,000, where I have given you the clear narration, first year short working not recovered, transfer to profit and loss account. Narration, why it is important? You say it shows the history of the transaction. It explains the history of the transaction. That's why narration plays the vital role. Now fourth year, as usual, royalty account debtor 37,500, short working account debtor 22,500 to landlord account 60,000. And amount paid to landlord, landlord account debtor to bank account 60,000, 60,000. Then open, it will be closed, that is royalty account, that is production account debtor to royalty account 37,500, 37,500. Then you see again the 42,000 what loss that you have incurred in the second year, that you could not recover in the fourth year. So that will be transferred to profit and loss account debtor to short working account 42,000, 42,000. Again I have written short working of second year could not be recovered, transfer to profit and loss account. This is how you have to write journal entries without minimum rent. Now journal entries in the box of, let's say, with minimum rent. Hitherto we did without minimum rent. Now we are doing with minimum rent. Minimum rent account debtor to landlord account. Then royalty account debtor, short working account debtor to minimum rent account. Then once these two journal entries combine, then it becomes the original journal entry what you wrote, that is without minimum rent, right? The same thing which happens, but here you have to write with minimum rent. If they ask specifically in the examination, you have to write it. For that sake, I am explaining you. Then landlord account debtor to bank account 60,000, 60,000. Then royalty is open, it will be closed. That is production account debtor to royalty account as usual. Then go to second year, minimum rent account debtor 60,000 to landlord account 60,000. Then again royalty account debtor 18,000. Then short working 42,000 to minimum rent account 60,000. Then again landlord account debtor 60,000 to bank account 60,000. Then again royalty is open, it will be closed, production account debtor to royalty account, right? See, same journal entries, but these journal entries with minimum rent, right? Now third year, minimum rent account debtor to landlord account 60,000, 60,000. Royalty account debtor 42,000, short working account debtor 18,000 to minimum rent 60,000. Then landlord account debtor to bank account 60, 60. Production account debtor to royalty account 42,000, 42,000 closed. But here you will get one extra entry. What is that extra entry? The loss which incurred in the first year that could not be recouped, that will be transferred to profit and loss account. Profit and loss account debtor to short working account 45,000, 45,000. First year short working could not recover, transfer to profit and loss account. Then fourth year, minimum rent account debtor to landlord account 60,000, 60,000. Royalty account debtor to royalty account debtor 37,500. Short working account debtor 22,500 to minimum rent account 60,000. Then as usual, landlord account debtor to bank account you have to pay 60,000, 60,000. Now the next journal entries I have written here to know that profit and loss account or production account, whatever you write, let you know that simply I was telling orally. Now I have written vertically formally, that means either you can write profit and loss account or production account data 37,500 to royalty account 37,500. Then the second year what short working was there that you could not recoup in the fourth year, then that will be transferred to what actually profit and loss account. Profit and loss account data to short working account 42,000, 42,000. This you can refer your table where it is very simple. Short working of second year could not recover, has been transferred to profit and loss account. Students, this is how you have to prepare what actually journal entries, right, with minimum rent, without minimum rent, and I have shown you one ledger accounts also, 3 accounts that how you have to prepare, right. This is how you can prepare for your examination and face and write perfectly, right. Once again, I request all of you, those who have not what actually subscribed to our channel, kindly subscribe and encourage. Thank you.